On tonight's edition of The Overtime, we head over to Northland Preparatory Academy to preview their girls soccer team. Plus, high school football starts this week, and we have a preview on both Coconiono and Flagstaff as they prepare for the start of the 2020 season. And lastly, we head back to Flagstaff High School to preview their girls volleyball team. All that and more on this edition of The Overtime. Thank you for joining us and welcome to this edition of The Overtime, Northern Arizona's only sports show. I'm your host, Hannah Ware. We've got a lot of sports to talk about tonight, and I'm joined by our sports reporter, Mitchell McKenzie. Mitchell, are you ready to dive deep into some sports talk?
Yeah, Hannah, let's get started.
Now let's get into our first topic of the night and talk about Northland Preparatory Academy girls soccer. Last season, this team went 18-0 overall with a 6-0 in conference play. These girls are good and might have an undefeated season again. So Mitchell, what can these girls do this season to bring back another championship trophy to Flagstaff? And who are some girls that stand out this season?
Well, Hannah, you're right. These girls are just phenomenal. The last time these girls lost, Hannah, back on September 27th of 2018 against Chino Valley with a final score of 1-0. These girls are just amazing high school athletes, and another 2A championship trophy is coming to Flagstaff. Some girls that stand out on this team are seniors Mia Blair and Ellie Karen. Blair overall has 71 goals over 3 years for playing with the Spartans. She scored 47 goals while tallying 37 assists last season. Karen last season topped her sophomore record in goals as she scored 47 goals for the year while notching 26 assists. There is one game that stands out to me for the season, Hannah, and that will be against Chino Valley. Let's hope this time around these Spartans can beat Chino Valley and show the 2A conference that the Spartans are taking over and bringing a championship trophy back to Flagstaff.
Mitchell, you brought up Mia Blair, and she has definitely proven herself this year. She has made the top drawer soccer fall all-star team and the only female in Arizona at that. Good luck to the Northland Prep Spartans this season. Now, let's move on to our next topic and talk about the Eagles Flagstaff football team. They had a record of 6-4 last season and 3-3 in their conference. Some big wins that this Eagles team had were against Bradshaw Mountain High School with home field advantage and a win against Mingus High School with a final score of 45-2. Mitchell, what are some games this season that you can see as a potential win for this Eagles team?
Well, yeah, Hannah, these Eagles can start a winning streak and just be on fire. Just last season, from October 4th to October 25th, they were undefeated for a month. Now that's an amazing job from our Eagles. But I want to go into a game last season where they just crushed their opponent, and that was the Dysart Demons. In this game, it wasn't about the passing. It was about the rushing, and here's why. 2-star running backs in Luis Jaramillo and sophomore Ethan Ayup. Jaramillo in this game ran for a total of 121 yards on the ground while scoring 3 touchdowns. Ayup only ran twice the entire game, but ended up with 81 yards. That's 40.5 yards per run. Of course, Hannah, this season is much less scheduled due to COVID-19, but a game that I want to see is against Coconiono. I just love the hype and excitement for an in-town rivalry. Also, 6 out of the 7 games are in conference play, so I'm excited to see what these Eagles can do this season. And another team that stands out in our conference, Prescott High School. If these Eagles can beat the Coconiono Panthers and the Prescott Badgers, there's a solid chance that this Eagles team can make the playoffs at the end of this season.
Well, hopefully with new quarterback Morgan Booley, he can pull in some wins for this team. Best of luck to the Eagles as they are playing right now against Mingus Union. Now, let's get onto the other side of town and talk about Coconiono High School football. Coco had a great season last year, going 9-2 overall and 6-0 in their conference. Last season, it came to an end as they lost against Gila Ridge in a state playoff game. Mitchell, they did not end their season with their heads held high, but there is always this season. So what can you tell me about this team and how they can potentially bring a championship trophy back to Flagstaff?
Well, Hannah, these heads weren't held high. I talked with head coach Mike LAPSLEY just this week via Zoom, and he said it was tough for some players, especially seniors who played their final games of the season. For this Panthers team, records were broken. Excitement was in the stands, as these Coconino Panthers swept their conference and made it to the state playoffs. A key player for this Panthers team is senior running back Zach Bennett. Just last season, Bennett ran for over 1,700 yards on the ground and also had 22 touchdowns. But like you said, Hannah, the season starts tonight, and these Panthers kick off their season in about an hour from now against Marcos de Niza at home. Coach Mike LAPSLEY says they're excited for their first game of the season and are well prepared for Marcos de Niza.
We're fully focused. We're well aware they're a well-coached team. They're a quality opponent, and we've been treating practice and preparation for this game very seriously, and we're looking forward to it.
Coach LAPSLEY strives every day for his players to be and play like champions. He pushes them to the brink, which is why these Coconino Panthers are so incredible. Let's hopefully see these Panthers close out Marcos de Niza and start their season with a win in their column, and hopefully many more wins after that as well.
With a great record from last season and running back Zach Bennett as a key player to the team, the expectations for this group of players are high. Not to mention, this is head coach Mike LAPSLEY's second year working with this team, hopefully meaning another year in the playoffs for these Coconino Panthers. Well, each week, NAZ Today highlights a high school athlete that shows excellence on and off the field. We call this our Athlete of the Week, but this week we are previewing our Coconino boys football team, so we are calling it our Team of the Week. And Mitchell, you have an in-depth report.
Well, Hannah, you're right. Football season is back, and it's in full swing here in Flagstaff. Today, I preview the Coconino Panthers football team and how they approach this high-contact sport while going through a global pandemic. These Coconino Panthers were 8-1 last season while being undefeated in their region. Unfortunately, their season came to an end as they lost in the first round of the playoffs, which no one was expecting. Head coach Mike LAPSLEY says this team is ready to accomplish their goals this season.
Very much a team that focuses on one game at a time in order to accomplish our goals. So coming out strong this Friday is going to be something that we're striving to do. We know it's a very important game to get us on the right track for the season.
A key returner for the Panthers is senior running back Zach Bennett. Bennett last season ran for over 1,700 yards on the ground while scoring 22 touchdowns. Bennett says these players have to be patient and meet their own goals so they can make it to the playoffs again.
We just rely on our leaders to keep their energy up high, and the leaders, we hope that we can bring everyone else up with us throughout the season so we can get back to the playoffs.
But Coach LAPSLEY says his goal is to come back better than last season.
We're going to go out and strive to be better than we've ever been before, and looking forward to a competitive season this year.
Thank you, Mitchell, for that story on the Coconino Panthers football team. Coming up, we will be discussing Flagstaff Girls volleyball. Stay with us.